Yeah, what's going on? Let's talk to. It's been a minute since I've done a show and also done a show with this young lady. But welcome everyone. Appreciate you guys. Missed you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to it on a regular, more schedule. Definitely with this young lady. And tonight we have a very interesting show. We were trying to do this show last week, but I got caught up with work and stuff, and I was overwhelmed. One thing about this weather and your body will tell you when to sit your behind down somewhere and get a grip. But tonight we have a very interesting show. We're just gonna have this conversation with Professor Drea. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Q? What's up, Let's Talk family too? Glad to be back, and excuse me if I sound nasally, but I'm dealing with a sinus infection. Like you said, the weather is weathering, and that means it's time to rest and restore, right? So we back in the building.
Yeah, definitely. I had noticed right after the new year we had did a show right after the new year when the ball dropped, for lack of better words, and you had decided that it was time to unplug from social media, and just re-energize, so to say. Explain what made you unplug and what made you decide to just take a break.
All right, so I took a break. I can tell you the exact date. It was December 21st. And I was just over it. My spirit was just tired, completing the semester, and I was just like, I'm just over the gender wars, people gearing up for holiday season, and I just wasn't feeling any of it. So I said, I'm just going to take a social media break. Usually I do that from time to time. So I just wanted to just really cleanse myself and just reset myself, and then to just get prepared for the new year, and also to my birthday, which is in January. So I end up unplugging. I just deleted everything. I said, I don't care. I'm not one of those type of people that do announcements like, hey, I'm taking a break. And then I prayed about it, and it was like, okay, take a break. I didn't think it was going to be 3 months. I thought it was going to be a month. And I was like, okay, month 1, month 2, month 3. The only reason why I came back on social media was to promote something from my university. That was it. If I didn't have to promote it, I wouldn't have been on social media. I probably would have took 6 months or to a year. Cause it was just overwhelming for me. And I think I was getting anxiety from just the we got a lot of information, and we're just over connected. We're just like in each other's business instead of really focusing on your own business.
One of the things that I noticed, and it's really, really hard to navigate. Some people can take on social media and it not bother them. Like they could be attached in some ways, but detached. However, when you're dealing with, and I don't know some people where they are when it comes to energy and understanding. Like you see so much, like you said, you did it during the holiday time. A lot of people go through stuff with their families, and then it just be like so much, every day. Social media has a very interesting thing, and we always try to say you control your algorithm, so you control what you see. However, you get definitely when you're dealing with IG, you get promoted different stuff to follow different pages, so you can start following who your supporters start following, and then that could be very, very draining, because it could be like all negative regurgitating information. So you said I'm gonna unplug. When you decided to do it, Drea, what was your goal on doing it for 30 days?
My goal was 30 days, and I had a conversation with my therapist. So at the time, I had a session with my therapist, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to unplug from social media because she knows that I create content and things of that nature." She said, "Okay, that's cool." She said, "Try for 30 days." I said, "I usually do 30 days." I'm telling you, them 30 days, I was like, "Wait, this feels good." I started becoming more productive. Like, I got my floors restored in my house. I started doing home improvement stuff. I got better rest. I, read some of my books that I, was unfinished. I was just really just present of just like, with God and what I want to do moving forward. I even, this is my last semester at my university. So I even resigned from my job because I was like, I'm tired. And I said, okay, what's the next step? So I'm taking a career break. And if I felt like if I was still on social media, I wouldn't have that clarity. I got so much clarity that I was like, okay, now I can coexist in the clear, because before the social media break, it was a lot of chaos. Like, I was still dealing with the remnants of my divorce, the toxicity of my job. I was overworked. So when I took that social media break, it really helped me to be clear on, you're burnt out, number one, from just trying to keep up with whatever. And two, it's time for you to really restore and be present and focus on the things you need to focus on. So, like I said, that 1 month turned into 3 months. And people was calling like, "You okay? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." But the funny thing is, this is people who, none of my family called me and said, "You good?" It was more people like my tribe people. So salute to them. It's very interesting how, you have the same bloodline as people. They can care less what goes on in your life. It's the people who really rock with you. Like, "Yo, I haven't seen you online. You good?" So I really appreciate having that connection over the phone too, versus I'm constantly on my phone, going back and forth with what these people, are talking about. It's just not too much for me.
Let me ask you, because you're a content creator, Drea, Professor Drea, you guys in the chat, she's a content creator. She has a brown girl from Boston tribe, very inspirational and motivational, definitely dealing with Black women. Let me ask you, did you have a dilemma at yourself like, yo, how am I gonna be a content creator and I ain't gonna be creating content like, not that you have people that support what you're doing and really be, looking forward to you posting or having a video, and it's like, do I leave them hanging? Or like, what am I gonna do? Like, because I've been told, like, sometimes when you got to just keep giving out content, but then sometimes you don't want to give content that you're not 110% behind, or content where you were preoccupied with something else.
Right. No, I actually found other avenues to put my content out there. Like, I focus on my blogging more, like more on my written content. Also too, for those who know and don't know, I'm a professor, so I have my audience in which I do a lot of presentations and workshops in that realm of social work and social justice and anti DEI and stuff like that. So I have my audience in which I steer my information to. So I was building my more professional portfolio, I guess you can say, because I knew, once again, I was transitioning out my job this year. So like, okay, let me do consulting work and other works that's going to be more aligned to my mission and my vision. So I actually was building on a different level. It was just, once again, I couldn't tap into Facebook and Instagram, because those are the only two platforms I'm really on. I'm not on TikTok and see the same thing over and over. So I miss like the Risa Tisas and all that stuff for the world. And I'm like, what's going on? And my significant other's filling me in like, hey, this is what he was filling me in like, hey, this is what's going on, but don't worry about it. And I was like, that just sounded like a whole bunch of mess that I'm glad is missing me.
So you brought it up, and I know that the therapist in you the Risa Tisa and her 35 part series, for you guys in the chat. The young lady on TikTok, she basically said, who was I married to? Went viral. It basically came out from his ex-wife and his family that he has some mental issues that he's dealing with. So what was your assessment of that? We don't want to go too far into it, but I know you were like,
I could have did my own series with my with my ex, but I feel like there's no privacy anymore, right? There's no privacy anymore. Everything is on blast. And I also wonder to myself too, as a person who, been in clinical work for 17 years and have a therapist. Do y'all go to therapy? As much time as y'all put into posting about who the F did I marry, who the F am I friends with, you could take that same energy and go sit on someone's couch and really work through that trauma. But a lot of times too, what gets the attention? Attention is a new currency. Like, people get paid for attention. Homegirl got all these sign-ins and brand deals, this, that, and the third. So, and Black pain, it pays. Anytime that you're a Black person in America, especially, we'll go there another time. Your labor, you get paid for your labor, and what that makes the world go around. So of course that's going to get paid, and also to be put on blast. So I was like, homegirl could miss me with that. I didn't watch. It was like 52 parts. I'm like, who got time to watch 52 parts of this girl? And it's the trauma bonding once again.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Because that was something that I shared with someone. I said it wasn't nothing but a trauma bonding session. And I got some pushback for saying it, because a lot of people always say, let somebody tell their story so maybe they'll help the next person. I respect everybody in the medical field, anybody that's working on them, anybody that's into therapy. You do what you got to do to get where you got to get. I mean, it's always great to talk to somebody. However, I think majority of the time when you're dealing with social media and somebody quote unquote vetting, what goes viral is a trauma bond.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to sign up for the tea.
Yes.
Oh, did you see such and such? Let me share this with you. This post is going viral. And a lot of times in context, the post don't even be about what the whole show or conversation was about. It's just a viral clip, the tea. Even when go back to Cat Williams and Shannon's, as they say, groundbreaking YouTube conversation that over 60 million people seen on YouTube alone, and clips broke the internet. But what did he really say? He gave up tea. It was calculus, and So I always think that it's some type of form of trauma bonding. And sometimes, Drea, and I don't want to get too far off the subject, we trauma bond too well.
Yes, we do. I like that. We do trauma bond too well. And that's that's another thing too that made me break away from social media, because it's a trauma bond. And every time I open up my app, RIP to somebody. Oh, I'm sick. Pray for me. I'm sick of this person. I'm sick of that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so what's the solution? I'm a solution-based person. And I get it. We all need places to vent, but the social media spaces is not really a safe space, because once again, it's the trauma bonding. You're opening yourself up to more trauma, compassion fatigue, also to other things. And then you wonder why people weaponize your pain and then be like, oh my God, it's none of y'all business, but you pretty much exploited yourself. So a lot of times we exploit ourselves by telling our business instead of, finding safe spaces, participating in narrative therapy. That's pretty much, journaling, talking to somebody who is professional. That's cool to have your tribe of people, but, having someone who's going to help you with those coping mechanisms and know how to navigate that trauma that you may have experienced. But yeah, that's why I just have to leave social media alone. I may have to go back to Black social media too, because I'm like,
she even said, I think I had seen the first 3, but she even said, and we're gonna get off of her, she even said it was a United Nations of red flags. Now I don't know what she meant by that. I know I lived in North Jersey. I've been past the United Nations plenty of times. They got every flag there. So if you're using that as a metaphor and you're just saying you got all these red flags, where's your self accountability?
Right.
And I just find it ironic that we can listen and whatever the sister's going through, I hope she gets the help that she needs, and I hope her telling her story helped her be able to be a better picker. But I just felt as at a certain age, at our age, and me and you talked about it a little prior, like I think the older a lot of times people get, the more bitter they get.
Yes.
And in that bitterness, yeah, you feel like, oh, it was a waste of time. You know, I put time into this. But in her particular situation, it was a United Nations worth of red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the accountability?
Right.
And usually, a person that dates and been in more than, let's say, 4 or 5, and I'm not speaking this off no data, but a person that has dated more than 4 or 5 people in their life, usually they pick the same type of people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're dealing with the same type of people, you know the flags that's gonna come with them people. Some people want to put their cape on and save people. Some people want to be saved. Some people want people to get them attention. Some people want people that's just laid back and cut. But so you go on your 90-day hiatus, and you say, "All right, I gotta come back." Now, you guys in the chat, Drea. Let me explain something to you guys. She had a banging Twitter account. This is how I met this young lady, through Twitter. We formed a brother sisterhood a few years ago. Her Twitter was off the hook. A lot of supporters, a lot of great content. And she dropped Twitter one day, and I was like, "What the heck?" And she had told me, she said, "Yeah, I got too toxic for me. Like it just too much." Because Twitter has a way of, as they say, a lot of keyboard gangsters on Twitter. People just be extra. So you took the 90 days and you said you had to come back because to promote something at the school. Now that you've been back a few weeks, talk about do you see what did you feel like you learned in the 90 days, like about you?
So what I learned about myself, I got more clear on who I am in my raw state and my vulnerable state. I learned that I'm so dope in so many different areas, and that I have outgrew a lot of areas. I also too, I have dimmed my light in a lot of areas too because of just past experiences. Also too, that helped me to shed light on what I need to heal a little bit more. And also that, I have to start boxing my skills in. Like that was another thing too. I guess for me, because I've been on social media for so long, I can go back to AOL chat rooms. That's how long I've been on internet. I had Black Planet like my senior year in high school before going to Tuskegee. So that's how I made a lot of friends my freshman year. So, I learned a lot, but the social media space for me, I realized that I'm a very sensitive person when it comes to like screen time, when it comes to like people's energy. I didn't realize that until I took that break. I was like, oh my God. Because that energy can come through the screen too if you don't know how to, channel it or block it. And I remember having a conversation once again with my therapist, like, yo, I am very hypersensitive when it comes to certain things. And I can't do a lot of social media. I can't do a lot of screen time. I don't know, because I'm getting older. It just really bothers me a lot. And just people's energies are off. And a lot of people are undiagnosed, misdiagnosed with mental health illnesses. And that's not my business, but I see it a lot on my timeline. People that I know, whether it's family members, people I went to, school with or just met. I'm like, man, we in trouble. And the world is it's just awful. The world is just an awful place. You don't hear about good news anymore. And it's just really as a Debbie Downer, because you don't hear about, oh, this person, this is what's going on, something beautiful. You don't hear about people getting married anymore. You don't hear about engagements. You hear negative. Cardi B versus Sexy Red, whatever the chick's name is, and all this nonsense.
Marriages are on the rise. I saw a study the other
Oh,
day
that's
that
good.
marriages are on the rise. So let me ask you. So how did it feel after your first couple weeks of unplugging when you looked at your phone and your phone told you you have 6-7 hours less screen time,
I was
6-7 hours less on your phone than you had last week?
I was excited because I was like, oh, that's where I need to be at. And so that turned my focus on to like my books. Like I started downloading a lot of ebooks and just finishing my books that was unfinished. Because what I do is like I read at night, before bed. And so I said, oh, that's good. And like I wiped my apps off my phone. So it just felt like different, like, oh, I don't have to like press the app after I'm finishing my devotions in the morning. Cause I do have a routine. And usually like I do my devotions and then I'm like, oh, let me see what's going on social media. So I felt more clear and more lighter. And like I said, I had time to think and to meditate, because we always think we don't have time to do the things to really self-reflect and to really receive the downloads from whoever your God is. You do have time, but you're so confused, you're so inundated with, oh, I gotta be connected to what these people are talking about online, and they're not really talking about anything but the same thing they were talking about last night or the night before. So, like I said, I was really focused. I just got a lot of stuff done and just made a lot of decisions.
Did you realize when you unplugged how much time you spent throughout the day on social media?
I didn't realize how much time I was spending, because I'll be having my phone in my hand. People are like, you always be flying so quick. And I'll just be like mindlessly strolling. And like, even when I was getting bored in meetings, right, I'll be like strolling like, I'm paying attention. No, I'm not paying attention. I'm just strolling. And I'm like, strolling for what? What am I looking for? It just was a time. It just wasted a lot of time. Like social media wastes a lot of your time.
So you mentioned in the earlier about, you want to unplug, your birthday coming up, stuff and so forth. So for those that don't know in the chat, I will say Drea is into numbers. She does do readings. For those that believe in that and understand anything about numbers, anything about things that happen throughout our lives, a lot of times most people think it happened by happenstance, it's an accident, but sometimes things happen for a reason. You get this number in your head. This number has always popped up in your life, and you start to understand cycles. Like even so much so when a woman, she's going through cycles. We didn't have this much technology years and years ago, so you kind of had to like use the universe to count. Like for example, what would you do without a calendar? You would have to be able to know when the new moon came in. You knew that it was a new month. So we need to understand that sometimes these type of numbers, cycles, occurrences that happen, this is the cycle of life. So what was your numbers saying, Drea?
Oh, my numbers for this year was saying that I needed to slow down, disconnect, and also to pay attention to my physical health, mental health, and emotional health. Oh my God. When I saw that, I was like, this is why I'm plugged. And this is why I'm plugged unconsciously, because I was getting to that point of getting anxiety. And I was like, hold on, wait, this is not me. And just a lot of stuff was piling up, and I was just fatigued. So that's why I said I made a decision to make this semester my last semester working full time, because I was just burnt out, and then my health started taking a toll to the point I found myself. And before, it was like a week or two before my birthday, at the doctor's office, like, hey, you got anemia, you got to focus on this. I had to really restore myself. So I said, wow, that's so funny how I was so tapped in. I think if I didn't take that break, I probably would have still kept going and did my thing. But that was my wake up call of like, I thought I had it, like I said, the anxiety attack. And then I had, end up getting anemia. And then when I read my numbers, I said, pay attention to my health. And so that's what I've been doing, like really refocusing and restoring my health, because we all are getting older. Thank God that we are above ground. I'm thankful for that. But, you know, when I read that and I said, yes, I have to pay attention and do me and pay attention to, you know, knowing that I'm going to be okay, but I only get one life and I like to be healthy. And I was going so hard in the gym, and I still go to the gym, but that was a wake up call for me when I had them heart palpitations, and I was like, oh no, what is going on? So that was another reason why that social media break was extended too. And I didn't say I kind of had like a meltdown with the anxiety, and that's why, you know, I was telling my therapist, like, hey, I need to take a break and like really just get more grounded on things that I need to pay attention to a little bit closer in my life.
Yeah, like Cynthia said, trust your gut, because your health is your wealth. Absolutely. And a lot of times, and you know, it's funny, you had we mentioned Dr. Short, and me and Dr. Short, he's like us. His birthday is a little bit after mine. And we was both discussing. He was messing with me about me getting a year older, and you know, sometimes you wake up and you got a knee pain and it's an ache, and the weather changing, and you be like, yo, how, you know, this cold usually be gone in 2 days. So it's good to know, like, your body is telling you something, like, and to just have that rest. Most people, and they always tell you, get 8 hours of sleep. I don't know too many people that get 8 hours of sleep.
Really?
No.
I sleep 8 hours.
Most people get 8 hours sleep in intervals.
Now I'll be knocked out. I get my 8 hours. I have to get my 8 hours. I have to get those 6 to 8 hours. That's important. But like you said, a lot of Americans, they don't sleep, you know, 8 hours. Some people sleep to 4. And we live in a system, once again, that is just overproduction of, like, it's, you know, you gotta be, you know, Black excellence. And I think I post something about that. Like, it's okay if you just being okay with being Black okayness. It's okay if you know, you don't always have to produce and make 6 figures, 7 figures, because that money is going back into the system. So I have said that I'm pulling out the system, and if I go work at Target, I am okay with, you know, that. So yeah, exactly, hypertension, and like I said, I have a high stressful job. And,
so let me ask you, for those in the chat that don't know, I call her Professor Drea. Professor Drea is a assistant professor at her alma mater, the prestigious Tuskegee University, who was founded by the great Booker T. Washington. And let me ask you, Drea, you're done?
I'm done full time. So this is my last semester. So I am done full time. It was a hard decision. I probably did the ugly cry, but I had to. It was a godly decision that I had to make, because I'm 41. I don't mind saying my age. I'm 41, and I'm in a different stage in my life in which I want to get remarried and have a child or two. And I can't do that at the level of my job, because I'm all about balance. And I've been doing some research about Black women. We don't have balance. You know, it's either you got to be the strong, independent Black woman, and you got to be this career driven. And I'm done with that. Like, I don't achieve everything I need to achieve as a social worker. And people are like, what? I have. And I'm just at a different stage in my life in which I'm just done with that. I have worked in a toxic environment, and it took me getting out my divorce, going through my therapy, to realize, like, I, you know, was working in a toxic environment, you know, putting myself on the line and putting my energy on beyond E for my alma mater, and, you know, I wasn't getting, rewarded, you know. And then also too, I worked for someone who was just, I don't want to be that Black woman. Like, she's a different type of Black woman I don't want to be. So I had called it quits. Like around the same time, I decided to take my break.
So what about the other university where you was teaching at?
I'm still there. So
okay.
I took a break from there. So, you know, I'm still there too. So I'm the type of person, I believe in multiple streams of income. So I'm okay when it comes to money. When it comes to the monies, I'm okay. So that's why people are like, why are you taking a break? Everybody doesn't know. I didn't tell my dad yet. But we don't have enough. We don't do enough of like career breaks as Black people because once again, this system has been built on Black labor. I always said my ancestors already paid the dues, and I'm okay with bowing out gracefully, and that's what I'm doing because I don't want to be that Black woman that give myself to a career and then what do I get at the end of the day? Like I done published, I done wrote 3 books, I done did so many dope things. I just want to just chill with hopefully my future husband and have a child or 2 and be okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't care about I don't care about getting a PhD. I'm not getting a PhD. I don't care about being in higher education no more. I am okay. And people, a lot of my colleagues are like, what? So like Cynthia said, all money's not good money, and that's facts. Like I done made plenty of money. I just want to just really chill, and that's it.
Absolutely, Drea. Absolutely. So you mentioned about I always got a curveball, right? So you mentioned about Black labor. Did you have the opportunity to see the President's State of the Union, where he said that the wealth gap was closing?
Yes. I did, and I had.
He said the wealth gap was closing for the first time ever.
That's such a lie. Because I feel like because I'm Black American. Once again, my ancestors been in this country for the beginning of time, and I'm seeing Black people at a low state. Like I don't see Black people. The Black excellence is a facade. Like I'm seeing it on a daily basis, especially in the spaces that I'm in. Yes, we could talk about individuality, but collectively we're not doing well because once again, we're overextending ourselves and we're killing ourselves for jobs, mentally, physically, spiritually. And like someone just said, all money's not good money. And people are like, well, I got to hold on to this job. I got to hold on to this facade of living in this neighborhood, driving this type of car. And like someone said, it's all lies because people are really suffering. Look at the grocery store going, just basic home ownership, basic things like that. People cannot attain that in 2024.
And for those in the chat, the reason why I said that to Drea to get her started is that me and Drea met through reparations movement and working together to try to be a part of our reparations movement and understanding that reparations is a debt that's owed and so forth, so on. And we're going to continue to put the good fight in and continue to educate ourselves and educate each other. One of the things, Drea, today I happened to go to the store and I was online and it was a long line. I was the second one in line. And two of the cashiers was talking about, I was in Family Dollar and they were talking about the stores closing down. And they were talking about people stealing out the store. And they were mentioning how that particular store lost $200,000 in losses last year. So I'm listening, I'm ear hustling. And they were talking about people stealing, people got kids that come in there and steal and this, that, and third. And I wanted to tell them, absolutely. ADOS, absolutely ADOS. So I wanted to tell him, Drea, one thing we got to understand is the streets got to eat. Mm-hmm. And I'm not encouraging nobody to take nothing that don't belong to them. But I really, really believe that a lot of us think that we okay. Like you said, personally, a person may be content and okay where they're at. Right. But at the end of the day, some people don't got food to put on their table. Some people don't even have a house to lay down in every day or a home to lay down in every day. And, they were talking about how all these Dollar Trees and all these stores are going out of business all throughout the country because people are going in there stealing. Like, I don't think people, so then it was like, people can shop online. Everybody can't shop online. Some people don't have no online presence whatsoever.
Right.
And it's just when you tell people, and we've been doing it for the last 4 years, last 4 years, you try to educate people on the wealth gap and explain, like, the numbers is saying it's some people getting richer, but the majority is getting poorer. And basically struggling, they look at you like you got three faces.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
like I'm all right. It's good. It's the wealth gap is not a problem, and it's kind of ironic, inflation.
Oh my God.
Eggs $5, milk
Right.
$5. If you drink milk $5,
If you
you
drink milk, right.
it's to the point that your pocket is making the healthy choices for you.
Yeah, and then too, it depends on where you live at in the United States. So don't forget that. Like despite being from Boston, you have to make $130,000 to live comfortably in Boston. So I live in Alabama, so I don't have to make nowhere near there, and my life is pretty good. But once again, people who stay in these major cities, they're barely surviving. Like I look at some of my family who still stay in Boston. I got family stay in Jersey and stuff like that. They have to live way out and have to commute in. So that's more money, more taxing. Once again, the labor on your body, the exploitation of your talent is being drained. You're driving 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to work, and then you're not getting paid what you're supposed to pay. You're getting paid what, like 1984 rates versus 2024. And then look at the labor as far as we're drying up in this country, people getting laid off. So it's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that's going on in the state I live in with the anti-ADI, the anti-oppression and racism that's going on here. The bill that just got passed in, I think, Tuesday, of just even they're looking at state funding at HBCUs. Our HBCUs in Alabama still going to be funded. So, it's just a lot that's going on in this country. This country, I always tell people, I'm like, this country is trash. And it's dropped like, it's supposed to be, United States not even one of the happiest countries. I'm like, why? I'm like, you got overdose, you got drugs, you got murders, you have inflation. The homelessness is terrible everywhere. I don't care where you live at. You can go any town USA, and you can see homelessness. You don't have to go to major cities anymore. You're seeing them even in your town. So we can go on and on, but that's enough to make you unplug and to really think about.
And that's the thing that I thought about when I was like, hopefully this week we'll be able to do this show and have this conversation. I was thinking about years ago when I used to call myself being off the grid. I didn't have no bills whatsoever. I was grown too, as they say. I was grown and I had not one bill in my name. Like no address I was using for my license. I didn't live there, never lived there. So I used to call myself living off the grid, and I'm like, yo, that, even with that, like you gotta have a war chest to even unplug, to say, I'm gonna go and just, as they say, live off the land, don't get caught up in the politics. Because when you look at it, for us, Black Americans, we don't really have no political currency. Like, it's like the Republicans don't even acknowledge we exist, and the Democrats is trying to tell us what they think is best for us instead of listening to what we're saying. So it's kind of like, you know what? I'm ready to just unplug from it. I'm not going to talk about no elections. I'm not going to talk about none of that. Let me just live. Let me just go live off the land. Let me go out to Montana somewhere in the woods. I know how to fish and hunt. I'm good. So it's an interesting thing. So let me ask you, how do you feel since you've been back though? Like, do you feel like you missed it, or you feel like
I'm gonna definitely take another social I'm taking another social media break. It's too much for me now. It's just, I never thought I would get to this point. It's just too much for me. I don't know, because I'm still going on this journey of healing, and I'm still clearing out some things, but it's just a little bit too much. Like you said, with the whole politics, everybody's up. And when I mean up, like everybody's successful, everybody's doing good. But when you know that person's individual story, you doing the side eye. People are suffering, and I just don't like seeing people suffer, period. And it's just too much for me, and all this consumerism of like, and I'm seeing a lot of like, buy. What am I buying? Like, I could barely afford, groceries, and you're telling me I need to go buy the new, I think some new Jordans or something that just dropped, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my sports. You got the sports, you got this, you got that. It's an ongoing like hamster wheel, and it never turns off.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Dwayne, one of my good friends who you know, he's on his social media hiatus, and we were talking about the hamster wheel and just, you know, being consumed. It's like much. I was actually cleaning out my refrigerator, right? And I found some food in there that I didn't know I had, that I bought, and I'm saying to myself, like, you know, when you go through cleaning up your house and doing stuff, you be like, what did I buy this for? I didn't need this. And for me, that's what I do. But then when I look at some other people, like you said, when we're from certain areas of the country, and then you move somewhere else, like I see a lot of people back home in Jersey, and I'll be looking at them and I'll be saying to myself, they must be really doing good because they go out to turn up is every week. Like, I'll be like, man, I can just imagine on my budget and my lifestyle, gas prices. Because sometimes the gas price, because Pennsylvania has a gas tax, had it for years. Mm-hmm. So the gas price in Pennsylvania could be a little higher than some areas in Jersey. Right. And I'd be like, I'm good. Exactly. I ain't going over that way. I ain't going that way, you know. So it's interesting about unplugging and knowing when to unplug and not be so caught up and consumed with going on. Because you see it, Drea. Somebody will post and be like, yeah, as they say, I'm getting off of Beyonce's internet. Y'all tripping. No, you created your algorithm.
Right.
So you create what you see.
Right. Absolutely. You do. You do. And it's funny you said that, because I wrote one of the first blog posts I wrote this year. I said, curate your own happiness. So that's why I said I'm curating my own happiness. And I said my happiness is going to include, you know, being sensitive, being soft, being okay with like unplugging from this thing we call the matrix. And I pretty much kind of manifested that, because I was like, listen, you get to curate and create what you want to see. Like I just did like I just went down my timeline yesterday. It was like, yo, I'm gonna talk to these people out of here. And if I don't like your content, you're out of here. I don't care if you're my family. I don't care who you are, because I cannot allow myself to be inundated with negativity and things that drain my soul, or the trauma bonding vibes. We have the choice of whether or not what we want to see on our timeline and what we want to associate ourselves with, and what we want to do with our lives. And I think people think, well, I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You can just go ahead and deactivate your whole social media if you want to, and find out other ways to, to plug in your time. But people feel like they don't have a choice of, logging in every day. You don't have to. You don't have to tell us, your trauma story. You can go to a therapist. You can find other ways to navigate that. But yeah, it's just crazy.
One of the things that I find myself doing, definitely on Saturdays when I be out and about, I'll leave my phone in the car. I'll be like, I'll just leave it here. I don't need to take it in the store with me. I don't need it with me. And then, don't even take the earbud out the ear, leave it in the car. Helps me become a more focused shopper too, because now I'm not just picking up anything. I'm focused on what I'm doing. And it's crazy how all these things, all these vices, which can be of great benefit, sometimes for the most part can be a major distraction of what you need to do for you.
Right.
So I really appreciate you coming on, Andrea, and sharing some of those things and really share some light on, because of your job and your training and what you do, how you allowed yourself to be an example of, I'm not going to tell or suggest or encourage you to unplug, and I don't unplug myself. Mm-hmm. You ever coming back to Twitter?
No, I'm not ever. No, I'm not going back on Twitter. And I had a movement too on Twitter. I was like, man, I was doing the thing on Twitter. I was like, I'm good. Like,
yeah, Twitter, and I will tell you that well, I don't even like to talk about reparations, and I'm just going to use reparations because that's where we met through Twitter and stuff. I don't even like to talk about reparations because it's disheartening what I see. And it's like, you really think that this beast is going to give us reparations and give us what we're owed, listen to us, take us serious, and we don't even take ourselves serious. So I try not to talk about it and discuss it. Things going on in specific areas. It just be so much negative energy. Nobody got anything nice to say about nothing, and but y'all say y'all all lineage-based reparationists. It's a weird thing.
Right. And then too, like I said, just to close this out, I'm just tired of complaining. Where are people going to have the action and the solutions? I'm solution focus based. And if you just come to me with all this complaints and complacency for years and years and years, I just don't have the time for it. So that's another thing too. If it's not solution based, and at least try to find solution A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't want to, keep talking about something and nothing's being moved. So yeah. I agree.
Because you do got some people that's TTG. They train to go. They just want their marching orders and tell us what need to be done.
Right.
We're gonna go and as they say, let the chips fall where they may. So Drea, do you got any final thoughts for us?
That was my final thoughts. Y'all just protect yourselves out here. It's okay to take a social media break. It doesn't have to be as long as I did. It could be, a day. But just protect your energy for real, because the world is just, going to a place that we never thought, was going to go. So just, make sure you have a routine to protect yourself, your energy, your peace. Find your peace. Whatever that is, whether that's in the morning, whether it's before going to bed, but just make sure that you just protect yourself and your mental health. So,
well, Drea, as always, you always welcome on anything that I got, any platform, anything, you more than welcome. Hopefully everybody in the chat, hopefully everybody that's subscribed to this channel will follow you, will really listen to this and get some benefit from it. And I know you're not going to be a stranger. We look forward to your daily reminders. You do it at least twice a week. We look forward to those videos. I always upload them. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
You more than, like I said, you're more than welcome to come on anytime. Just say when, and it's going to happen. With that, everybody have a great night. Talk to y'all soon.
Peace, everyone.